How's it going? It's Kooks. I'm trying to put more energy into my videos now because I realise that the energy levels dip when this comes through on the other side. But today's video is all about how to raise over £100,000 or $100,000 for your business. And the reason I know how to do this is because I've done it multiple times. So basically, I started one of my businesses, my family business called Mr. Sings, in a garden shed with my family. And for the longest time, I'd funded it all myself. I'd put all my savings into it, maxed out my credit cards, and basically got it out into the market and taken this business as far as I possibly could. All I knew inside was that I wanted to grow this business into something massive. I wanted to grow this brand into something massive because people seemed to love what we were creating. And secondly, I just knew that I wanted to give my family the opportunity to have a great life. You know, as a family business, everyone could make a living from this, and maybe it could save us and take us into a whole new direction. Like outside of that was inside how I was feeling and what I wanted, but outside, you know, all I could see and all everyone else could see was that we were giving it everything that we had. We were working our day jobs, coming home, working late at night until 2 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 6 o'clock, going to work, and just repeating this for months and months on end, and obviously working on weekends as well. So it was exhausting on everyone, and we just knew that we wanted to get something from it. So I took it upon myself to try and make this happen and make this dream come true. But essentially, I got to a point where I just knew that I couldn't give it anymore. I'd put everything I had into it, I don't know, probably 40, 50,000 pounds. Like loads of my credit cards, as I said, had been maxed out, trying to take this brand that we'd just given birth to as far as we possibly could. And I just knew I couldn't carry on, and I actually wanted to quit. I was like, look, I've had enough. We had a good run. We've had some success, but I'm going to stop now because I didn't know what else to do. So I went to see my best friend, one of my best friends, who was also our accountant, and I was just telling him how I was feeling and what I was doing, and he just turned around and he said to me, you know what, you haven't really tried hard enough. And I was like, what? You what, Zorba? I'd given it everything I had. We were working all the hours that were available to us, and this guy is saying that I hadn't tried hard enough. But essentially what he was saying was that I hadn't explored all the different routes that were available to me, and if money was a thing that was concerning me, I should explore that particular route. And that's when I had this moment that I thought, well, what if I could go out and get money for my business? What if I could get investment? You know, we had Dragon's Den on the TV at the time, it's still on now, and I know that other people have raised money for their businesses, so I thought, well, why not us? So my plan was simple. My plan was to reach out to anyone who I could think of as a potential investor or who might know investors. Secondly, I thought, look, let me research on the internet where investors might hang out. I wrote out what I thought was a great business plan, sent it out to people who could basically tear it to shreds, tell me what was missing and what I could improve, and then send it back to me, and rewrote my plan until I thought the story, very important, the story was perfect. And I paid to join investor networks because I thought, if I don't know the investors, I have to find them somewhere. And that was my plan. Now, unfortunately, at this time was also running out. I'd put everything that I had into it, and I'd sold out of a previous business, and I now basically had booked a holiday to take a break from the life that I'd created for myself, and it was a 2-week break. And at the end of the year, this was fast approaching, so if I didn't get the money that I wanted by this time, I would have shut the business down and kind of moved on from there. And luckily what happened was I was invited. One of the investor networks that I joined, I sent my deck out to them, and this deck went out to, I think, about 700 investors. And for some reason, this investor network were having a live pitching event the very same month. I think this was November, and they invited me to pitch. So I said yes, turned up to this event. I think there were 70 or 80 people shortlisted, or businesses shortlisted, and I was one of the 6 that was chosen. And I had 7 minutes to pitch a room full of investors my idea, which I did. And that was it. And during that pitch, I actually said at the end of the pitch that if I don't get the investment that I want, then I'm stopping the business, and there's no point carrying on because I've taken it as far as I can, and the only way I'm going to do any more is by securing investment. And lo and behold, basically by the end of that night, the show finished at 8. I didn't leave that event or leave that venue till about 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, because investors were sitting with me talking about my business and my idea and the brand that I'd started with my family. And essentially the outcome was 3 months later, we secured over £100,000 investment for the business. We managed to turn our business from something that was a homegrown idea that started in our kitchen and in our shed into something that was now something so much more, and something that had potential to turn into a global brand. And we achieved the goal. I achieved the goal that I set out of securing the money that I wanted by a certain date, to basically deliver a future and a vision that we'd created as a family, but I wanted to deliver for all of us. But inside, I'd kind of learned that, if I set a deadline and if I was very confident in what I was saying and I wasn't afraid to walk away from that, then things seemed to happen very, very quickly, and it gave people a sense of urgency, and it let people know how serious I was. And in addition to that, I also learned that the clearer your story, the clearer your proposal, the clearer that your idea is, essentially if a 5-year-old can understand it, that will actually give you the biggest chance of at least getting interest from investors. And it's at that point you can delve into the details. And actually, if I'd said I wanted £500,000 or £1,000,000, I would have got the money. I would have got whatever I'd asked for. And so that kind of taught me that moving forward, to really ask for whatever I want, and I will get it if I put everything else in place to deliver those types of results. So I'm actually thinking of creating like a guide, a short guide for anyone that might be interested in raising money for their business, to achieve whatever goals they may have. And if you are interested in that guide and you want me to email it to you or get it over to you, drop me a message here, or comment or wherever you see this video, and I'll send it over to you. But that's my video for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching and listening to me talk about this, and have a great day. Peace.